Welcome back, everybody. My name is Tim, and this is another Real Ideal Gear Review. And today we're going to be talking about YouTube channels. Not a review of YouTube channels in the sense of a critical review, but just more of an informational, like here's some channels that are out there that are, I think, really done well, and the hosts do a great job. Variety of watches to take a look at, all that kind of stuff. So we're going to go through a list. I have a few categories. I'm going to kind of clump these under, and then from there we'll move on to the end of the video, and I gotta get to work. So this to me is a quick video. This is like the fourth time I've taken this video. I've had technical issues that I forgot, like didn't turn the mic on, had a fan on that the mic picked up. I mean, just stupid stuff. So we're gonna get through this video one way or the other. All right, so let's go through this video. We're going to talk about the first piece, which is specifications and design. These are YouTube channels and hosts that do a great job talking about the specification and design of watches. You get the dimensions, you get the design features, the movements, those kind of things, the design, overall form of it. If there's a little, reflection of other styles that are out there, they're going to mention those kind of things too. So these are the ones I think do a great job on my list. If you think that there's others that are out there, please put those in the comments down below. This is supposed to be an informative thing. This is an informational sharing thing. It's certainly not a critique of any of the hosts that are out there or any of the channels that are out there. This is just, hey, here's some other resources for the viewers out there to take a look at. So let's start off with Jody over at Just One More Watch. I think he is probably one of the biggest resources on YouTube when it comes down to, on the affordable side in particular, of watches that are out there. So he does a great job of just providing a very predictable formula when it comes down to giving information. What I really like about how Jody goes about this is that I know he has his doctorate and his background in research, and the way that he talks about information and the way he presents information is very research-oriented, very much a trained academic. And myself, who is a dissertation away from a doctorate, I can appreciate the way that he approaches presentation of information and just being very concise and sticking to the point and sticking to research, sticking to stats and things like that. So thank you for doing such a great job. Dave over at Just the Watch. Dave and I have done a collaborative video. I think we're like soulmates when it comes down to the styles that we appreciate. There's a lot of the watches that he shows that I like, and I think vice versa. So this is another channel. I think Dave does a great job of presenting information, the specs and design, and just some of the things that are, maybe quirks about a watch or not so good, or the really strengths of a watch too. So he does a great comprehensive, spec and design type presentation as well. Some other ones that I think do a great job are Jordy over at the Time Teller. Let's see, Relative Time, Shane at Relative Time. I got to say this, I've watched a number of his videos, and earlier on, I think some of his earlier videos came out on my recommendation list first. And I wasn't, I was like, not really. And I watched some of the more recent ones, and I think Shane does a great job in presenting information on watches. And the interesting thing is just the evolution that I have seen of, and Shane is an example of this, but I think every watch YouTube channel goes through this, of the very beginning episodes to the most recent episodes is almost night and day. And I know that's the case for me. You're trying to feel things out. And so if you hit a watch channel that's early on, just know that over time, these channels almost always get better as far as production quality goes, sound, audio, the way that they take photos and videos. I think all of it does change over time. So give these guys and gals a chance, especially if they're early into the channel, early into the hosting gig, so to speak. So Shane does a great job at Relative Time. I love the transition from early episodes to late episodes, the current episodes. It's phenomenal. I love it. The Watcher. Who else? Escapement and Watch, Time and Crown, Long Island with Mark at Long Island. I got to say personally, like, he has answered so many of my questions. He addressed one of the issues on the Penn Islander watch that I ordered from him. They had a strap issue, and he fixed it right away. I don't know how the guy has so much time to deal with all this. So Mark, thank you for what you're doing out there. You're doing a great job on the videos about watches. And you and there's another host out there, Teddy Baldessari. You guys are like walking encyclopedias for watches. And I suspect your library of watches is just that. It's a library of watches. So appreciate what he's doing, what you're doing for the channel when it comes down to just getting information out there, helping people make decisions. And another highly trained engineer, approach. You can see the personality of hosts come through. Mark really does have that engineering background. You can just see it as he's talking about watches too. So love that about the channel. Teddy Baldessar is another great one. Walking encyclopedia. The guy knows facts. He knows like model numbers of watches, and that just baffles me because I don't even know the cell phone number for my wife. I know it's in my cell phone. I've always had it myself. I've never had to really, memorize it. But the point is he is just a walking encyclopedia. He has model numbers stored away in his head. So great resource for all kinds of information. And just, again, thanks for all the work that you guys and gals put into this. How-to videos. These are primarily about Casios. And Greg Anderson over at the Good Timekeeping channel does an awesome job of explaining basically Casio functions, different Casio watches. The guy has boxes of Casio watches. So if you have any questions about Casio watches, I think this is probably the guy to go to. If not, go to the Watch Geek. He does another great job of explaining how Casio watches work. So those are my two Casio go-tos when it comes down to it. There's, I'm sure, a bunch out there. Put them in the comments down below. If any of these channels are ringing a bell for other channels, put those in the comments down below, and let's just kind of network this all out. Next up is the high-end channel. The channels that deal with high-end watches more often than not. And some of these hosts, they do a wide range, but I don't know, for whatever reason, when I pull them up or when they get recommended to me, it's generally on the high-end side of watches, which is fine. So some of the great ones, I think, are Adrian Barker, The Watcher, Time and Crown, Watchfinder. Teddy Baldessar does a great job. Britt Pierce, Jenny L., you guys are in a male-dominated app, which is that of YouTube. Hosts viewership is primarily male, and you guys do a great job. You bring a female perspective, a female, a flavor to what's being talked about with regards to watches. I think it's great. Keep it up, doing a great job. And great job. I think that the one channel that does a great job of high-end watches, and I'm talking like high-end watches, there's probably two of them. Producer Michael does a great job. I'm just not as attracted to the style of the production as much I am the Kevin O'Leary channel. Kevin O'Leary to me is like we're soulmates when it comes to finance, leadership, kind of saying how it is. At the same time, very passionate. He's very passionate about watches. I think he's very passionate about finances and business and stuff like that. You can see it on Shark Tank. And he's not afraid to say, what you may not want to hear, but I think that's an important piece. But Kevin does just a great job with the high-end stuff. And he shows and showcases watches that he owns that, for a guy like me, I'll probably never have access to them, let alone see them. And so I just appreciate what Kevin has done as far as opening up his collection to show people what he has, to talk about why he has it. And again, another great walking encyclopedia of watch knowledge because of just the amount of watches he has access to, the resources he has access to, the people he knows, all those things together. It's just a great channel for the high-end watch side of things. At the same time, not to put Kevin in a box because you can't, otherwise he will say something to you about it. But he has also through this Teddy Baldessar and Kevin O'Leary partnership has taken on some of the more affordable style watches, and I think quite noticeably the Hamilton watch is one that gets mentioned a few times on a few different videos. So kudos to Kevin for doing that. I think it's just great that the breadth of experience and ownership is that wide. I mean, it really is. So those are my recommendations for the high-end type stuff that's out there. Again, there's certainly a lot more that are out there. Let's go to State of the Collection videos. And the State of the Collection video is probably the best resource to see a bunch of watches fast. If you need to change your collection or you want to get different ideas, or if you're just getting into this, or if you're looking for ways to do something like a State of the Collection video for your channel, I think there's there are all kinds of them out there. I've done one. Actually, I did mine a little bit differently. I broke mine up into State of the Collection versus style. It wasn't really... So I broke my... All right. So I did my State of the Collection video a little bit differently because I did mine according to style of watches and not just the entire collection itself, a standalone video. So I broke it down into different styles, so like dress watches, work watches, outdoor watches, and some of those watches overlapped into multiple categories, which is that's the way I approach my collection, is that it's just very multifaceted. So take a look at these State of the Collection videos for a variety of things. Also note that each host is going to have a personality exhibited in their collection. And so if you're interested in dive watches, you're going to see hosts that are just heavy on the dive watch side, or luxury watches, or Casios, or affordable watches, or chronographs, or micro brands, all that stuff. Like, you're going to see some different influences that are out there when it comes down to their State of the Collection. Also, the State of the Collection really is a good insight into the host's view, and it's very practical because the vote that they have made is right there in front of them. These are the watches they want to keep, or at least they want to keep for the time being. They kept these over the other options that were passed their way. And for a lot of these hosts who have large followings, there are watch companies that are sharing watches or even gifting watches to these guys and gals that, they do the review, blah, 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 and they pass the watch off, or they sell it, whatever. It's not part of their collection. So when you see a State of the Collection video, this is a collection of, this is what I want to keep, at least for the time being. So I think that's a great vote. It's a great way to see what is valuable to that particular host at the time. State of the Watch Collection videos, some really good ones. Abdul R. Watches, his 2023 one, and the reason I say that is because it's so unique. Most of the watches on there I've never heard of or seen before. And granted, styles are kind of replicated between companies and all that. But as far as brand names, as far as their take on a different style, it's a very unique collection of watches. G1 Toys 2023 video was really well done. I like that one. The Timekeeper does them, the Watcher. David, Just the Watch. Jody at Just One More Watch. These guys all have the State of the Watch Collection videos, but I think one that was really well done and just shows the breadth of a collection from affordable all the way up to luxury watches is Wristwatch Dave. His 2022 video is really great as far as just that breadth of a collection. And for those hosts out there that have really large collections, this is a part I think that really helps the viewers out there to see a variety of watches because of the size of the collection that you have. And so have no shame in sharing that collection with the viewers, because it really gives us a quick view on a lot of watches, variety, price ranges, brands, all that, movements, all that stuff. And so thank you to those folks out there that are putting those State of the Watch Collection videos or State of the Collection videos together. Next up is probably my favorite category of all time, and I mean really the top of all of these, and that is the collaborative videos that are done. And there's three that I want to mention that I watch all the time. There's a bunch of them I'm sure that are out there. These are the ones I just watch. When there's one that comes out, I watch it right away. So the first one is Urban Gentry with Long Island Watches. So TGV and Mark get together, and it's like two nerds talking about pocket protectors. I mean, it's awesome. They're both... TGV talks about the history of pocket protectors, and Mark talks about the engineering of pocket protectors. And in the end, you're entertained by just the normalcy of these guys talking about the topic. And they're not talking about pocket protectors, they're talking about watches, but they just nerd out on the topic so well and with such passion and information and history. And it's down to earth at the same time. It's in a living room, or it's in an office or whatever. It's just really, really well done. Love those collaborative videos by those two guys. David, Just the Watch, Shane at Relative Time, Half Past Blog. These three guys get together, and the latest one I watched was these three guys were helping Shane cut back on his watch collection. And it was really fun and funny at the same time, because I can empathize with Shane when it comes down to the decisions that are made. Well, these watches are in the collection for a reason. They're not just random. And so going through and saying, okay, I got to get rid of this one, I got to get this, and then, to hear Just the Watch and Half Past Blog, this out, this one out. It's just really awesome. Kind of cold-hearted at the same time, but it's great to watch that. The most entertaining, the one I've watched several times over and over again, is Teddy and Kevin. These two guys, when they get together, Kevin gives Teddy such a hard time, in good humor though, and Teddy takes it. He's got the patience of Job. These two guys, it's like father-son, not quite. It's like your older stepbrother and the younger stepbrother, but not quite. These guys are hilarious. It's the Odd Couple, almost. It really is. But at the same time, both guys are very passionate about watches, extremely knowledgeable. You know, Kevin as a collector and all his experiences and relationships and people he knows in the industry and all that. And Teddy is like academic. Like, he is just really knowledgeable about watches and his business end and just the background of some of these watch companies and things like that. So these two guys getting together, it is a stitch to watch, especially when they have a contest between the two of them, a kind of a lighthearted contest. It is great. So if you have a chance to watch those, any one of those is awesome. And they're both, you know, type A personalities. And again, I've already talked about Kevin, but he really had that type A personality really comes out when other people are around. So kudos to both you guys. Love the videos. Keep it up. Share more. Do more of those. I know you get comments to that effect, but from me to you, I'll just throw that out there as a video comment. Unique watches, the last category. Which of these channels has access to a lot of unique categories? A lot of the same ones. Just One More Watch, Just the Watch, Abdul R Watches, G1 Toys, Wristwatch Dave. I mean, these guys, it's unique because of the volume that they have, that they share. So look for watches, for hosts actually that have access to large volumes of watches out there. And there are times where it's like, you know, I don't want to watch somebody who owns a store as far as the video goes. I want to watch somebody who's privately collecting on their own. And you get a different take that way versus a storefront owner when they talk about their watches or watches that they're reviewing. So there's a little flavor going on that way too. And everybody talks about, oh, you know, it's hypocritical for someone. Like, no, not really. It's a bias. And just be aware that there's a bias involved. And, you know, view the video accordingly through that lens, that there's a bias involved. So that's really all you have to worry about. That's the whole research thing. Like, everybody has a bias. Nobody can get away from it. There is no such thing as an objective review. Everybody has a biased review that's more objective or less objective. So there you go. That's the collection of watches that are out there. When it comes down to, you know, the collaborative videos, I want to throw this out there to any of the hosts that I've mentioned. If you're watching this, I would love to do a collaborative video, and I'll just offer up my location because I think every conversation needs a starting point. I live in Western Montana. Yellowstone was videoed like literally 10 miles away from where my house is. I'm like 6 hours away from the Yellowstone National Park, 6 hours away from Glacier National Park, forgetting the names here. But anyway, the area that I live in is fantastic. And the reason for that is I would love to do a collaborative video in the outdoors with another host, whether it's here or elsewhere. I'm just offering this up as an idea. So either way is fine with me. But put that out there for any of the hosts that are out there that want to try something like that. Plenty of places to stay, great places to eat, great people in the area, wonderful scenery. I think it'd be fun to do. So there you go. That's the collection of videos. Put comments down below. Put other ideas, other hosts, other channels out there that you think are great. If you could put the category with it, that you say, hey, you know, this host does a really good job with this, that would be extremely helpful as well. So there you go. My name is Tim. This has been another Real Ideal Gear Review. We'll catch you guys next time. Everything's on. The mic is turned on. Take 7 million.